Hey guys, welcome to For the Story, the podcast that's a lot like dim sum, except it's less convenient, not as fun. It's a really bad family activity, but it is more filling. I'm Ash.
And I'm Avery. There's a whole bunch of MSG in this podcast too.
Yeah.
Just
Midsommar sodium glutamate.
Exactly.
Midsummer glutamate.
Mid-sodium glutamate.
This week, as you can probably tell, we watched The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh, no. No.
No? Wow.
I actually do like that movie, but no, we did not watch Eternal Sunshine this week. Well, maybe we'll talk about that at some point. That's one of those movies that kind of like, I feel like wants to be more artistic and meaningful than it really is.
Why do you think
You know what I
I chose it? Roasted. Dad.
Yeah.
Got him. Freaking got him. Recording?
So yeah, Midsommar.
Yeah.
We saw it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about it.
Sure are.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be fine. I'm less confident.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine. Yeah. I think it's gonna go all right.
Yeah.
So we like to start out the show. We talk about some other stuff that we've watched, stuff that's relevant, stuff that's irrelevant, and that's what we got. So Ash, did you watch any other interesting movies you would like to bring to the table here?
I watched a TV show about tacos. That's new to Netflix.
Oh, nice.
It's called The Taco Chronicles. It's good.
The Taco Chronicles.
How could I not watch that show, dude? Like,
Yeah,
honestly,
seriously.
with that title,
Are you gonna taco about it?
I think you get what it's about, dude. I've also been watching this like YouTube series where VFX artists react to good and bad CGI. I don't know if you've seen this.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that.
I'll link you to it. They did an episode and I was watching it. They pointed out this really interesting thing about Into the Spider-Verse. So,
okay.
Miles Morales versus Peter B. Parker. They have Miles Morales in 12 frames per second while the movie's being shot in 24 frames per second, and Peter B. Parker in 24 frames. And then they move Miles as he becomes more Spider-Man towards that 24 for 24 frames.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Interesting CGI storytelling. So
Yeah.
it's more, I didn't even, they point out these details you never ever see. Bad water in Avatar.
Oh yeah.
They reacted to, there's this other YouTube channel that does like VFX upgrades for movie scenes. So they redid the Obi-Wan Kenobi Darth Vader fight scene. Looks really awesome. And like they're actually
hell yeah.
doing fighting.
Oh, you know what? I saw that.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
Like I like what they did with it. It's so funny looking at that. Like that's like the first lightsaber fight like ever, right? On a movie.
It's bad.
And and it did not age well at all. But like it's kind of like, it's lightsaber duels in like the original movies were a little more like talking points, like the characters speak to each other, and then like they just became these ridiculous laser fests. So there you go.
Oh, also, I got my pitch for Spider-Man 3, by the way.
Okay,
check it out.
All right.
It's Kraven the Hunter, right? That's the bad guy. He's going to come. He's coming after Spider-Man. He's hired by Shocker, Vulture, and turns out Mysterio's alive. They're slowly assembling the Sinister Six. They send out Kraven the Hunter to go capture Peter Parker. It's going to end with Peter Parker taking on a new identity and a new superhero identity, so that he can stay in the movies without having to get the rights from Sony.
Interesting. I could like totally see it. What would his identity be?
Night Monkey.
He would just be Night Monkey.
What if he just did Night Monkey and he changes his regular name so people don't know who he is?
Maybe. Something like that. Or like, yeah, and then they can bring in Miles Morales from Spider-Verse.
Yeah, exactly.
And wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, Donald Glover's his uncle. It's great.
I am like seriously like interested what exactly Sony and Marvel are going to do, because the rights are basically done. There's one more solo movie, so he can't even appear in another ensemble movie, which probably won't even happen for a long time anyway. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. I'm curious what's going to happen. Like I guess Guardians is probably going to be the next one, because I think Guardians 3 is back on, and what's his name? Mr. Gunn.
James?
James Gunn. I wanted to call him Sean Gunn.
That's his brother, isn't it?
I think there are other Gunn brothers.
Yeah, they wrote not Hereditary. What's the other one?
We saw us. Oh no, it was a Child's Play.
No, it wasn't Child's Play. It was the horror Brightburn.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and they all worked together on that or something. And I think James Gunn produced it. But yeah, so the Gunn brothers.
Yeah.
I think James Gunn is coming back for Guardians 3, which I'm really happy about.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's old news or not at this point.
Pretty old news. But yeah, I could totally see Spider-Man and Captain Marvel working together, weirdly.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They had 3 seconds of screen time, and I loved it in Endgame. She's like, hey, Peter Parker. And that was the whole scene. But imagine Space Spider.
Space Spider, yeah.
Yeah.
Bitch, you been to space.
He has. Maybe that was the clue. Maybe that was
maybe
that was
trying to clue you in.
But what have you watched this week, Avery? Anything fun?
You know, I've been thinking about it. I watched King of the Hill a lot. That's really all I got.
What year is it? Holy shit.
I know, right? King of the Hill. The new episodes, or not the new episodes, but the newest episodes are actually pretty good. I don't know. I'm surprised that show got canceled. It seems like it has a large enough following that it would stick around, but I guess it just wasn't working. But that's okay. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've been watching. I'm trying to think about any other movies that I watched. Oh, I started to watch with Sid this movie called Steak Land. Oh, that's my phone alarm going off. I started to watch this movie called Steak Land.
Is it
Is
it a sequel to the taco one?
No,
Taco
it's not
Chronicle?
about steaks like beef. It's about steaks like that you kill vampires with.
Oh, and just like
it's
how you
about killing
produce them?
vampires.
Oh, okay. It's not like how it's made.
No. It's actually really it was terrible. and Steak Land for a movie about vampire killing is a really, really bad title. It's actually just a really bad title.
Yeah.
just a bad title.
No, bad titled movies that are really good are few and far between, I feel like.
Yeah.
Except for Hansel and Gretel, right?
Yeah. Hansel and Gretel?
Yeah,
is there a Hansel and Gretel movie?
Yeah, there was a Hansel and Gretel, but it was an action movie.
Oh my god, that's stupid. That's really stupid.
What's it called? Oh, Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters with Jeremy Renner and Gemma Arterton.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 2013.
Oh, that sounds like 2013. I feel like in 2013, a whole bunch of movies like that were just like remakes or reimaginings came out. There was that, and there was like a Snow White and the Huntsman movie that came out like the same year.
That was.
Remember that?
I saw it. I think it's probably better. I'll send you a photo of the fucking cover for Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters.
Sure, yeah.
It looks truly odd. It looks like a somehow worse Van Helsing. TV.
We have to talk about Van Helsing. I think that's like right up our alley. Because I actually like remember seeing that movie as a kid and really thinking it was awesome. And so like I wonder if nowadays it'll still like hold some of that quaint. You know what I mean?
No, I've seen it since I was a child. It's not good.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's really bad.
Oh, the VFX are truly hokey.
Yeah, I definitely remember that. Yeah.
Did you see this fucking cover?
Yeah, you sent it to me.
Oh god.
Oh, that's so stupid.
I know. Don't you want to watch it?
Yeah, I kind of do. I mean, like, I could totally see myself watching this and being like, 4 out of 10. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that looks like a 4 out of 10, doesn't it? Yeah, but you can't judge a book by its cover, Ash.
Might be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I think we should watch that.
Yeah. Oh,
we'll watch Hansel and Gretel Vampire Hunters or whatever.
Holy shit. Oh, my God. I think it was produced by Michael Bay, but I might be wrong.
Ah, that seems like right up his alley.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, hell yeah. So, Ash, Midsommar has come out. The opening weekend is come and it's gone. And I'm really curious how this movie did financially and what its budget was.
Well, I think first should we talk about our expectations? What order we fucking do anything in this show?
I think we do budget before we do expectations.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Let's do it. Hit the thing.
Can you call it down for us?
Hey, intro, fall right here.
This is the budget breakdown.
Perfect.
Budget breakdown, budget breakdown. So, Midsommar came out on the someday of the someday. What fucking day did this movie come out? Oh, July 3rd.
Oh, really? It's been out for a while then.
As of the, it had a production budget of approximately $6 million and had a domestic total as of now of about $16 million. It had an opening weekend that just surpassed its budget at $6,560,000. It was only in 2,707 cities and peaked that weekend at number 6 behind other movies.
Wow, I'm surprised that it didn't bring in more money than that. I had trouble getting tickets for this. Like every theater was like sold out.
I think it's probably because of the limited release.
Maybe. I mean, there were plenty of showings, and it was in 2 different theaters at the Alamo I went to. But it was like harder to get tickets for the people were pretty hyped about it.
Yeah. I think we were too, and we'll of course get into that. This movie did not perform great. Even in that weekend, it was still behind Aladdin, Yesterday, Annabelle Comes Home. The only movies it really beat out were Secret Life of Pets, Men in Black International, Avengers Endgame, which is now 12 million away from breaking Avatar's record.
That's like definitely gonna happen. That's why they re-released it into the theater with an unfinished scene.
Yeah, and the unfinished scene,
such a bad move.
Spoiler alert, is the scene where Spider-Man fights things and then is sassy to cops.
Really?
Yeah, from the trailer.
I thought like an unfinished Hulk was in the shot too, like all the memes.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's really bad. Why did they do that? Why didn't they just finish it and then re-release it?
Because
it just doesn't seem to make any sense. Yeah, but it's just so bizarre.
It's not like that movie didn't make money.
Yeah, like they had money. They have money to throw around. They could have finished a Hulk CGI scene. That's bad. Well,
Right.
Interesting, but yeah, so I'm surprised Midsommar didn't do that well.
And even historically, it didn't do well. The highest rank it achieved was 60th in Independence Day opening weekends. Let's give a couple guesses. I think one of them's kind of obvious.
Yeah, Independence Day
number
is
14.
Number 14. It's not number 1. This is America.
No, it's a much more American movie at number 1.
Oh man, at number 1. Oh my god, I'm like at a lot.
Jerking off the troops. Has to do with, I guess, moon landings technically.
Transformers.
Which one?
Transformers: Dark of the Moon or whatever.
That is the highest ranking one of all time.
Really?
Yeah. 97.
That's goddamn American right there.
That is an American ass movie.
Yeah, it is such an American movie. Hell yeah. Fucking Transformers 3, the bad one. It should just say.
Subtitle, the bad. Why won't anyone no one has the balls anymore in this life
to just call it the bad one.
Yeah.
The one that sucks. No, because they wanted to make money. People aren't going to see it if it's literally called that.
But people are going to be curious. I would. Like,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah. There's going to be like curiosity.
Why is it called the worst one?
Oh, man.
Like maybe it's a fake out. Yeah. You have any other guesses?
Independence Day opening.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's tough. Historically, I need some hints. Honestly, I have no idea. I know that there's like maybe Jaws. Might be in there. I'm just trying to think of summer movies.
Let's give you some hints.
All right.
Probably the worst one in this series that had a reboot with what's her face? $1 Million Baby. Sandra Bullock.
The worst one in the series with Sandra Bullock?
No, it's the worst one in the series. Then they did a reboot with Sandra Bullock. I think it was Sandra Bullock.
Oh, they did a reboot. Oh, man. I totally have no idea.
Bonsai, San Diego.
Dude, I don't think I've seen this movie.
it's The Karate Kid Part 3.
Oh, whatever.
It's a movie about a kid who gets shoes and makes money because of shoes, technically.
gets shoes.
Yeah, get some
Is
shoes.
it like Mike?
It is like Mike. Way to go.
Oh my
dude.
God! Really? Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God! That was just a shot in the dark.
This comedy horror probably shouldn't have come out. Takes place in a mansion, and it's weird that it came out on Independence Day weekend.
Does it have Eddie Murphy in it?
No.
I was thinking of The Haunted Mansion.
Terrible movie.
Takes place in a... Yeah, it's a really terrible movie.
It's a series of movies.
It takes place in a haunted mansion? Dude, I have no idea.
It's a Scary Movie 2.
Okay. Yeah, that is a bad weekend for that.
Yeah, it's like
Why wouldn't they put that out in like September or October?
Will Smith does the rap of the movie in the movie he's in.
Oh my God. He raps in this movie?
Mm-hmm.
It's not Aladdin.
No, I don't know.
Dude, I don't fucking know.
Wild Wild
Will
West.
Smith. Oh my God, I forgot about that movie. That movie was like heralded. It actually had kind of cool special effects for the time, but now it looks like complete trash.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Oh God, who's this actor? Okay, I don't remember the actress. We're just ignoring it. Two more Will Smith movies that are in a series with one another. Lots of sunglasses.
Oh, Men in Black and Men in Black 2.
Correct. Another Will Smith movie. He wears sunglasses, but it's not Men in Black. I think he wears sunglasses. He's an alcoholic in it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Oh, Hancock.
Tom Cruise jumped on a couch.
Oh, he just did that on the Oprah show.
Yeah, but he was promoting what movie?
Oh my God, what was it? What fucking was it? Shit, was it Mission Impossible?
No.
What the fuck else is Tom Cruise in?
Based on a radio play.
Oh, is it War of the Worlds?
War of the Worlds. And last but not least, this is the second movie in this film about a strong blonde woman, and it's got a really, really terrible title, but it's very Independence Day themed.
I don't know. Wait. Is it Legally Blonde 2?
What's the subtitle?
Dead by Dawn.
It's actually, that's close. Dead by Blonde would have been a better one. But it's Red, White, and Blonde.
Great.
And of course, Magic Mike XXL.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that a sequel to Magic Mike?
Yep.
Oh my God.
But the dicks are bigger.
Yeah, like, get it?
Because of the size of the penises.
Right.
And that is the budget breakdown.
All right. Wow, what a one. we
one,
did it. We broke it down.
Sure stood out among all the other ones.
I was just like at a loss for so many of those movies. Dead
great.
by Blonde. Legally Blonde 2.
And Legally Blonde 3, Dead by Blonde is a pretty good one. You bring back, what is it, Renee Zellweger? Is that who plays it?
I don't know.
It's one of those blondes.
Yeah.
Legally Blonde. Barely Legally Blonde. Oh.
Barely Legally Blonde. Oh, Christ.
It's Haley Steinfeld. All
right. Let's move on. What were your expectations for this, Ash? Because people have been talking about this movie a lot.
Oh man, they were.
Everybody I know is excited about it.
Hi, that was my bong noise. How was it?
It sounded like you were choking, but yeah, something like that.
They were high. Should I do that one more time?
That was good. They were high, bro.
So, oh my God. So yeah, really high expectations. This movie looks really fun. I loved Ari Aster's last film. Florence Pugh is in it, and also Chichi Aragonye from The Good Place is in it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't even recognize that.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
shit.
and this is, this also was going to tell us if Ari Aster was going to go into a sophomore slump in the second movie.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we got about 20 minutes into the movie, and then a huge earthquake hit.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
And they had to start it over, didn't they?
Yeah, well, they so it went on for like a minute, and like about 30 seconds in, a bunch of people started leaving because we're like on the second floor, and so a bunch of people evacuated, and my date and I were like, "Want to just write it out? Okay, cool." And then everyone was really on edge, and the really stupid guy, just a dumb guy who was sitting next to my date.
Yeah.
I wasn't sitting next to my date, but he was, because I was like, I'm trying to make like an open relationship joke, and it's not working.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh, are you serious?
Yeah. This 4th of July, I was saluting the troops by having someone sleep with my girl. It's it.
Anyway, continue. What's the story?
Oh yeah, and so we just kept waiting, and then like they stopped it and confirmed movie theaters just play DVDs, because they skipped back scene by scene to like nearly the beginning of the movie.
That's awesome.
And I was.
So they don't even do like film anymore? That's so lame.
Yeah, only I think places that do like, what was it, 76 millimeter?
70 millimeter.
Yeah, they do like actual film, but most places don't. It's all digital.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, but my expectations were really high. Especially early on in the movie, there were certain shots I was going, "Oh my god, it's a cool shot." This guy is kind of M. Night Shyamalan, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I was noticing the comparisons too.
Yeah, just so many cool shots, but then you're like, what is this fucking
like
movie?
What is it about? It's unfortunate to me. My expectations were like really high, and that, like, especially before you saw it, and then you saw it and you were like, I don't know, like it's a little artistic, and like, which is what it was. I loved the visuals in this movie.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. It was like the prettiest movie I think I've ever seen, honestly.
Yeah. Oh my God, I see an article here that says the horrifying Midsommar is a breakup movie. What did I tell you when I got out of the theater?
It's not a breakup movie. It's much more.
This is according to the director.
Yeah, well, he's an idiot. Obviously, we saw the movie.
Right.
I did go in. I like hated it when I left, and then I liked it the next day. And then I texted you, "Hey, want a pro tip?" And you're like, "Yeah, don't spoil it." And I'm like, "Don't expect a horror movie." And I think
it wasn't horrifying, and so I wasn't, which was good. And I think it made me enjoy the movie a little bit more, to be honest with you, because like, I don't know, it's so interesting, especially because I was comparing it, like, as one does, to his first movie, to Hereditary, which was a straight up horror movie. This movie, I think, was more on the visual side. Hereditary was more of a little like, almost like by the numbers horror, but it like worked really well.
Yeah,
so.
But almost like enhanced. I don't know. Like, and then on top of that, this movie was 2 hours and 27 minutes long, and I had an extra
Fucking
20
long.
minutes, which kind of ruined my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, oh man, it was a long one, but like it all like really worked well in a lot of ways, because it allowed him to like really get these long shots that he likes to do. And I think that's really where the length of the movie comes from. There wasn't any part of the movie that felt like it was like dragging on, like all of it, except like maybe towards the end, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, it's like I feel like the movie was generally paced really well, and that pace is just slow burn, and it kind of like, I don't know. I was hoping it was going to build up to something a little bit more.
Yeah, me too. I mean, yeah. But I think that like we should get into our pros, because there were like, outside of just, even we could talk about some of our favorite shots and stuff. And our favorite visual elements, because obviously those are there. But there were other good things about the movie.
Yeah. I think the idea is really great. I love the idea of a brightly lit horror movie. It's not something that's been done very often. Like, normally you see, like, just look at like the posters for every horror movie, and it's all like dark tones. There's some like light red sometimes in there for blood. You could scroll through a like on Google, like just a list of all of the horror movie posters, and you would see that they all look almost exactly the same. So this movie being so brightly lit, and like even the poster itself is brightly lit, it's very unique. It's a very unique take, and I think I enjoyed that more than anything else. The concept is great.
Those beautiful light blues. They've got the floral headdress, but it's even different than the one that they were wearing in the movie because those were even more colorful.
Like pretty extravagant, which I thought was wonderful.
Yeah. Man. Well,
the colors just absolutely pop in this movie. It's just beautiful. It looks really great.
It's like one of the few horror movies where I'm like, Mom, you'd kind of like this because it is visually, even though it's like fucked, like in certain parts, like it is like it's not even like horrifying. It's more just like kind of fucked.
It's just like there was a lot of like I don't know. There was a lot of shots where, especially like that. I don't really want to spoil it just yet, but you know that cut where they're like he's talking to his friend about his thesis, and then it cuts right to the smashed faces of the people.
Yeah,
yeah. Like that cut just like took me so by surprise. I thought it was excellent, really, really well executed, really like fun. Like this movie actually like was kind of fun in a horrifying way.
Yeah, it was. I mean, like what was really impressive, I think, was the amount of time that Mr. Aster went into creating the lore. Like I don't think it was all effective, but it was impressive that he created like a multi-day festival, each day having a different symbolism and kind of working through a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I think that I just love the setting. I love the idea that they're in the middle of nowhere in Sweden and they're just like going off and they don't know what to expect, but they come across this like it's hard to call them a cult.
It's a commune.
It's like a commune,
it's a
but
pagan
that
commune.
Borders on cult.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's just so unique. It's like the separation, like they're far from everything, adds like a little uneasiness. And they go there, and like the first day, apparently they have a suicide ritual.
Yeah,
which is just like very shocking. One of my favorite parts of the movie, I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I really liked it. My favorite shot in the movie, if we're gonna really talk about pros. My favorite shot is when they're driving down the road.
That's my favorite shot too.
Yeah, and it goes upside down and you see all the trees. Like, it looks so fucking good.
But the sky is so clouded that it almost looks like an inversion of them driving like upside down over snow, and the trees kind of just blend into the ground. I'd also put out there, all the psychedelia was done really perfectly in this movie.
Like subtle. It seemed like realistic. It wasn't like whoa and like colors everywhere. It was like things were just like twisting in the background and didn't look quite right.
Our lead woman, who's actually going to be in Black Widow, which I think is going to be interesting. Florence Pugh as Danny. She had like the big crown, and like the one flower was like contracting and dilating. And that was just so kind of freaking me out.
Yeah, it is uneasy.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. I liked like when after she's the May Queen and she sits in like the throne, and like you could see all of like the flowers are just like wriggling and writhing, and it's very interesting. It looks like they're alive or moving on their own volition. Really, really cool. All of the way that everything's blocked off in this movie was really good too. Like very centered shots. It reminded me a little bit of a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah, it kind of had a general Wes Anderson aesthetic, only less minimalist.
Yeah, less minimal, less like it was kind of like Ari Aster kind of dates his movies a little bit by putting like cell phones and stuff in there. Like you see somebody's cell phone and like like, oh, this is from 2018 or whatever. And Wes Anderson doesn't really like to do that. He doesn't date his movies by putting in like current technology, so they could appear to have taken place in any era. This movie seems to have kind of suffered from the opposite. But I don't like really think that that's necessarily a con. It's just something I noticed. But the way everything is blocked off and like just is so like interesting. It made for a very visually appealing and satisfying experience watching it.
Yeah, definitely. And then I also thought, before we were even getting into good shots, because the first 20 or so minutes of this movie is, I wouldn't say shot well, particularly. It's very by the beats. But, one of my favorite parts is after her bipolar sister kills her whole fucking family. Yeah. like there's a shot of her crying and just wailing in her boyfriend's lap, and they just
Very much like Hereditary, right?
Yeah, but the shot kind of pans through the window, which I really liked.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, they did a good job of making it so everything that didn't take place in Sweden was all very gray and darker toned, and then as soon as you get to Sweden, it's just like everything's lit, super bright, everything's really colorful, almost like they're going to like a fantasy world.
Yeah, it did have kind of a fantasy aesthetic to it. I would agree.
Yeah. That and coupled with like the fact that they were taking psychedelics made all of it seem like, is this really happening? Is this literally what's happening? You know?
Yeah.
So very cool.
Yeah. Other pros, I guess I'm pretty much out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, visually, this is the movie.
This is the movie. This is a movie that almost could have been a silent movie, and they could have cut out maybe an hour of it with all this dialogue and just given a master class in how you shoot a movie.
Yeah, because I mean, like he did not fuck it up visually.
Oh, no.
Like it looks really, really good.
He worked with the same the same cinematographer as Hereditary too.
I had a feeling some of the shots they felt very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
because Hereditary did the center thing pretty well too.
Pogorzelski. Another big positive, they used music from a ambient artist I really love for the movie called the Haxon Cloak. Avery.
Oh, you told me about this.
Yeah, you might remember it. We back when like Maruda days of our D&D campaign, I would when I would recommend stuff, there was like the minimal with a lot of water dripping.
Yeah, the soundtrack was great for this too.
Yeah,
it was all just like it fit really well.
Yeah, the soundtrack itself better than all the singing in the movie because the singing was a bit much.
Yeah, it was a bit much. There was something like kind of similar. I think I noticed in Us with all the like singing. Wasn't there like a whole bunch of singing in Us? Like it kind of felt like that. It was just very it was very clear and it almost felt like fake. That and like the flute. Oh my god, there was fucking flute in this too.
I mean, they were trying to embrace the paganism of Northern Europe, but yeah.
I guess another thing, I liked some of the humor with the character Josh. He was just like kind of funny. Like he was very much like the character that the audience was supposed to relate to.
But they got rid of him so fast. Oh my god.
Yeah, just so quick. And just for like no reason. He just like was taken aside.
I thought you were talking about Mark because Josh was Chichi Anagonye. That was the African American guy.
Oh, maybe I'm mixing up my names then.
Will Poulter, he's from like We Are the Millers and Chronicles of Narnia.
Gotcha. All of the friends kind of just like they like kind of just fall off really quickly. It felt like somebody almost like it was pressuring the story to like I don't even know how to quite say it. Like there was pressure to make it a horror movie, so you had to pick the friends off one by one.
But they didn't have any of the good slasher motifs, and I think with the backdrop they really could have, because especially when they find all these different people, kind of the way that they are displayed is really like, especially when they find that one guy all strung up naked with like flowers in his eyes. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
Seeing how they get there would have been a lot better. Like they conk one guy on the head and like nothing happens. It's like, it's very obvious from the beginning that they're going to a place where they're all going to die. And so they should have just embraced it instead of playing with subtlety.
Yeah, I think honestly, though, like it's a bit of a strength that they didn't just succumb to regular like slasher motifs, because it could have like quickly turned into something that's not as unique as it actually is. I think a movie that I saw, I'm trying to remember the title of it, but it's like a first person like found footage movie about these people who go to like basically the same place. They go to like a cult, and it's supposed to be like Jim Jones, or the guy who made everybody drink the cooler. You know what I'm talking about?
The Kool-Aid?
Yeah, drink the cooler, the Kool-Aid, yeah.
Yeah, drink the blue liquid from the cooler that keeps everything cold.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of reminded me of that movie, but like way better and way more like visually entertaining.
Yeah.
I forget what the fuck it was called.
I have no idea what you're
I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, do you want to talk about what our interpretations of the film are? Because we had different interpretations. Mine apparently doesn't align with the director, but I think it is a good one. But I'd love to hear how you interpreted the film, because it's, while trying to be a horror movie, it's also trying very hard to be stuffy and pretentious.
Yes. First off, the movie's called The Sacrament, that I was talking about. And basically they go to there's like an enigmatic like cult leader who makes everybody kill themselves. It very much reminded me of that. Also, except this movie wasn't very scary or as visual. So this movie I think was a breakup movie. There was a whole thing like the friends didn't really want Danny there, right? Mm-hmm. And then and her boyfriend was just also kind of an asshole and just didn't really care about her.
Seth Rogen's long lost brother.
Oh my God, he looked exactly like Seth Rogen.
My date didn't get it when I was making jokes about that.
He looks so much like Seth Rogen. It was like surprising. At times I was like, they could have just put Seth Rogen in this movie.
Like, I'm gonna put this flower in my dick.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
He's doing mushrooms. Come on, this is Seth Rogen we're talking about.
He looks exactly like Seth Rogen, but so that was definitely a pro. So this movie was like totally a breakup movie, and for the reason like you see like. Basically, he goes off and like he's lured away by all the women, and then he has sex with them. She notices, and then they kill him. And she's like wrapped up in flowers and looks all beautiful because she's processing it. She's like, it's like one of those things where it's like she's sad because she wanted to move on from this relationship and didn't even know it. And now that it's over, she can actually grow and become beautiful. Mm-hmm. I think is the idea. That's at least what I gathered from it. Yeah. And then he died along with all of his idiot friends. Yeah. So there you go.
So I interpreted it a little bit differently. I interpreted it to be about tribalism, false family, and specifically like white supremacist tribalism. So hold on with me for a second. So number one,
okay.
A big theme of it is the Swedish gentleman whose name I'm forgetting in the movie. I think it's Pelle.
Okay, yeah.
He like basically went through the same thing as Danny, lost his parents, and was adopted into this family. And so
I see.
And individuals who like wanted to look at it as a point of study were rejected. And she was the only person there kind of looking for some level of fulfillment. And that's why she was brought in, she was looking for, and then, so your outsiders are rejected by and large, unless they have a willingness to kind of completely join in, setting it in a pagan cult, because white supremacists typically kind of fetishize the pagan and the traditionalists, while juxtaposing that with the barbarism of the pagan rituals, I think was interesting. Okay. And then with me, the flowers and kind of the envelopment of her in the flowers had a different meaning, where it was kind of, you get into a tribe like that and you're surrounded by what you perceive to be beauty and perceive to be like something that's holding you and hugging you and keeping you safe. And from an insider perspective, it's beautiful and you feel embraced. But from the outside, it is contorting and disgusting and disturbing.
Oh, okay.
And then going back to your cult metaphor, the fact that they're literally kind of drinking the Kool-Aid and she's the only one who like embraced that is kind of fucked.
Huh. Okay.
So
cool.
I got like a tribalism thing, false family, like, oh, I've lost, a lot of the people who you see joining white supremacist group feel like they have no one else. And they end up joining because they think that it brings them some sort of light, even though there's a darker meaning or there's a darker implication to the meanings they give things. So that's kind of what I had, which may be a little more political than Mr. Aster was trying to get at, but that's how I saw it.
Yeah, I actually like that explanation a lot. I like that this movie is kind of vague enough that you can kind of glean whatever meaning from it that you want to. It's definitely a strong point for this movie, I think. Cool. Yeah, hell yeah. So should we talk about some cons?
Oh, hell yeah.
Because I only have a couple, but I think they're poignant. So yeah, but why don't you go first? I'm curious to hear what you got.
Okay, I got a couple. I think I'll start off with emotions not landing. Especially toward like the initial reaction of Danny to be screaming out crying when her family dies was very it was very moving and everyone had no problem. But in my audience, especially after she found out her boyfriend cheated on her and they were doing that screaming back and forth scene, my audience was laughing. It did not hit with my audience. Yeah.
I thought that was a good part. My audience was actually really great. I had a really good theater experience this time. The theater was great.
Yeah, my theater was okay. I mean, everyone was kind of on edge after the earthquake, so I think that might have played into it, and maybe they wanted to laugh at stuff. But yeah, and again, that goes back to my metaphor of mirroring, trying to make someone feel like the insider to kind of bring them in and have them because you literally have to choose insider or outsider. Who do you want to get rid of?
Yeah, makes sense.
So that, and then also I wrote in my notes the movie that stares at goats, because there are a lot of shots of people just staring at the camera for like it was like 20 minutes of this hour 27 minute movie or 2 hour 27 minute movie. It was so much, dude.
I that was an interesting choice. I think unless it's like a movie that's intentionally trying to be really meta, I don't think that when characters look into the camera, it looks good at all. I think it didn't really service this movie very much, but I definitely noticed that too. And it's kind of like, that's definitely a con. That just takes me out of the movie, It felt like
filler.
Yeah, it did feel like filler. There was definitely some filler in there.
Oh yeah.
But like a lot of the times, like the filler was like used like effectively to show a really beautiful shot. Mm-hmm. But even like the beautiful shots, like visually they're great, but they're not really. They do kind of feel like filler sometimes. But I don't know.
Yeah. Let me ask, Mom. Is it filler? She said it's filler. My mom's not.
Yeah. It's filler.
Yeah. What else? What are your big cons for this movie?
I really just have one. It's that this movie seems just to be like kind of pretentious. That's really it. Especially towards the end, I noticed it just seemed to like dissolve into just vagueness. Like, I'm sure it does have a meaning, and I'm sure it had a meaning to the director, but it's kind of frustrating. Like, I don't know, some people might think it's fun, but I like when things are like a little more clearly like laid out for you. Yeah. I think, in this case, it's like, I do like that it's open to interpretation, but almost like too much. There isn't a very clear definition as to what this movie really meant.
Yeah, I agree. Like, and I'm someone who, as we all know, I love an esoteric movie with like weird symbolism, but it was symbolism and esotericism for the sake of symbolism and esotericism.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Other big ones for me, they like brought up, they wanted to be a horror movie more than the script actually allowed for. So like things like her sister's head popping up behind her wasn't effective. Yeah. It was just kind of out of place. Another big one for me was they bring in this character of like an inbred guy who's their prophet.
Yeah, I didn't really get that. I wasn't really sure what was going on there. That's where the horror
movie could have gone. Because, like, imagine a society where everything's dictated by a fucked up child.
Yeah.
You get two shots of that kid and
very
nothing.
Strange. Yeah. It's like, or like this surface level society is like what they present to outsiders, but then they're hiding like their inbred like children or something somewhere. Like that could have been scary.
Yeah. And like, honestly, if your inbred child is just throwing paint on paper and you're making a religion out of it, like it could have been so fucked. It could have been so fucking disgusting and disturbing. They just went, nah, they were gonna put a guy inside of a bear and light him on fire. Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, whatever. And this movie was just so long to convey what seemed to just be like kind of a muddled message.
Yeah,
That's
it was
kinda what I thought.
It was a lot.
It was too long, I think. This
It
movie
was-
could have been cut 30 minutes out of it, and this movie could have been the perfect length.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. I mean,
oh well.
yeah, I think it definitely played into my because we saw it same week as Spider-Man, so it's like it definitely impacted how much fun I had at Spider-Man compared to this movie, because this movie wasn't fun. It was a slog.
Yeah, it was really
beautiful
There was some
slog.
of the it's like everything, like the visuals held me in, but like the plot just was, I don't know, it just it's hard to explain, but it just wasn't doing it for me. That's all I can say.
And also, they made it very predictable. Like, first scene where they mention going to Sweden to Danny, and Pele goes, "Oh, I bet you'd be May Queen." It's like, okay,
Yeah, right?
thanks
Like, of
for
course
the
that's what's
ending,
going to
dude.
happen.
Like, you didn't even
Yeah.
have to say that.
Yeah.
You could have just
It's
been like,
just
I'm
like-
excited for you to go. Like,
Part of me kind of thinks that like the entire festival was set up to get them there.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And like that was part of like the plan, was to make her May Queen when she arrived.
Mhm.
And that they've done this before.
yeah, and it's always an outsider that they bring in.
Yeah, to like so they could bring in like new genes to the gene pool, and then once they don't need them anymore, they set them on fire.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like that with the gene pool thing.
Yeah, I think they talk about it a little bit, because one of the characters asks one of like the guys in the cult who can speak English. He asks him, "So is inbreeding a problem here at all?" And he says, "No, we bring in new genes all the time. You know, we bring in like fresh additions to the gene pool, like basically telling them that's why you're here.
Yeah.
And do you understand why you're allowed to see what we do right now? Because yeah,
And then like
So
the
I think-
long shot where they're going to kill the old people, like you knew that they were going to jump.
yeah.
The
A little
hammers were a
predictable.
little extra, but you know, other than that, you didn't really. And then they
Yeah, I
like
thought that was
show you
crazy.
the love potion, like thing.
The
And-
love potion. I don't remember the love potion.
Oh, so the tapestry. They have like a shot of the tapestry of like a woman
Oh, okay,
who wants the
yeah.
guy, so she puts her pubes in his food and her menstrual blood in his drink, and then they fuck.
Right.
It's like that's
Yeah.
exactly what. And I'm like, oh, like he definitely got a pube.
Yeah.
Pretty early on. That girl was
Yeah.
really unsettling. I liked
Yeah,
her a
she
lot
was.
actually. She's a Swedish actress, I believe.
Yeah, I was actually looking into her a little bit earlier. I forget what her name is here. Let me pull it up again. But yeah, she was really good. She looked very like natural. Like she really looked like she belonged there, which I
She's
thought was kind of
gorgeous
cool.
too. Like she's a
Yeah.
very pretty girl. They chose like the like kind of the Swedish ideal in that regard, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So cool.
Was that
Yeah.
Igna? No. But
yeah,
no,
I'm
they
not
brought
sure.
in a lot of actual Swedish actors, which I think is a cool move. That's like a kind of, instead of just getting like more normal.
Yeah, definitely. I super agree with that. What was this shot like on location? Was this shot in Sweden? I see producers here, and they look like Swedish names: Lars Knudsen and Patrick Anderson. So I don't know if this was shot in Sweden or not. It might be worthwhile to look into.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, what did you think about this movie compared to Hereditary?
It was generally less unsettling. It was less. I don't know. It was just less. It was.
Yeah.
The acting wasn't as good. They didn't have, they had one actor instead of every actor dealing with some level of grief.
Yeah.
And I think part of what made Hereditary so great was that big twist in the middle, and then everyone's dealing with that differently. But this is
Yeah.
one character dealing with it, and everyone else is like trying to be normal about everything. So I don't know.
Everybody else was normal, so yeah, it's interesting. I feel like Hereditary is just executed a lot better, and everything that's in it really makes sense. And I really enjoyed Hereditary, and then compared to this, it's just like this was billed as a horror movie, wasn't really a horror movie. Like it had some like shocking parts, or like
Definitely.
yeah, trying to make it seem more like a horror movie, I think.
Yeah, and that was one thing I was looking forward to from like the commercial that didn't get a play up, because like in Hereditary is the like they had the sound thing, and then the commercial for Hereditary is like the weird breathing, And it happened maybe twice in the movie, and I was hoping that'd be a bigger part of it because I like the idea of like weird humanistic sounds being associated with horror.
Yeah, totally. It's yeah, definitely. I agree with you there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Hereditary was just a more consistently good movie, I think.
Yeah. I mean, this definitely had a lot of positives to it. It just was long.
Yeah, it was too long. This is much more of a visual like treat, and then the plot seems to be secondary. Whereas Hereditary, it seems like they had like a really good story, a really good plot, and the visuals are definitely part of it, but not nearly so much as Midsommar.
Yeah.
Scene
construction was really great for this, though.
Yeah. Scene construction, all of the sets were fucking beautiful. Like, they really did a good job. This movie is just so visual. It's just so, like, visually appealing. And then some of the other stuff, it's just, like, it doesn't really hold up as well, I felt.
It kind of had, like a Game of Thrones-esque over-loring to it. And, like, just things like they'd show the inside of the longhouse where... You know, they had all these pictures and they didn't explain any of them, and they would show relevant ones. But it kind of seemed like it was overwritten in that way, and that kind of bogged the movie down. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. What I do like is that they didn't just do a ridiculous exposition dump. You know, it was like all of that stuff. If you want to like subtly pick this movie apart, you totally can. You probably would enjoy it a little bit more. I think I might, maybe on a rewatch. But it seems like. Yeah, it seems like all of that stuff is in the background, but they didn't just like, tell the characters everything. It's still a little bit of a mystery as to what's going to happen, even though they're all going to die, except for Danny. Yeah.
Which is also obvious.
Yeah. So, that's just kind of how it is. I don't know. It's an interesting movie. If you had to give this movie 5 words, Ash, and if you had to give it a rating and a review, what would you say?
Oh, my feet's is grass.
Oh yeah, that was. Oh, I love that stuff. All the drug trip stuff was so good. Yeah. Like it wasn't just like stupid stoner colors and stuff. Like really well done.
Yeah, it was more similar to what it actually is.
Yeah,
I've never done psychedelics. That's not true. But this movie is gorgeous. First and foremost, I have to recommend you see it in theaters. I can't imagine watching this on a small screen. Just go in with the expectations of A, it's not really a story movie. B, it's pretty obvious. C, it's not a horror movie, it's an art movie. And if you can appreciate it as an art movie, I think you're going to like it a lot more than expecting horror and terror.
That definitely worked for me. I mean, I'm glad you didn't, or you told me that, like, don't expect a crazy horror movie, because that's not what it is. I think if I had expected it to be a horror movie going into the theater, I would have definitely not enjoyed it quite as much. Because it wasn't very scary. There was unsettling stuff, but just,
unsettling,
not enough to call it a horror movie.
A couple jump scares.
Yeah, and even the jump scares were just kind of like,
Yeah. I think there were 2. It's when Chi-Chi, I'm going to just call him Chi-Chi, or Cheaty, that's his name, in The Good Place. He gets hit with a club. Yeah. That was surprising. And the girl seeing her sister behind her.
Yeah, in like the porta potty or whatever it is. Yeah, they have in like super rural Sweden. Well, anyway.
Yeah, so this movie, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. It is a really good movie, but I do think that it is not a plot-heavy movie. I'm interested to see what Ari Aster does next. Hopefully, this is kind of similar to Jordan Peele in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah. They're actually kind of like neck and neck. I know Jordan Peele really liked this movie, but I'm curious to see. It's like all of these patterns for Ari Aster and for Jordan Peele are just like, is he going to Shyamalan?
Yeah.
Is he going to, is it going to happen?
I encourage this more than what Jordan Peele did, honestly, because I encourage anyone who can have commercial success with something that is what this is. And this is pure art. Like, it's an art movie. Oh, yeah. And it's going to have a good amount of commercial success. And that's fucking awesome, because every movie's a fucking regurgitation now. And it's cool that this was unique. Was by no means perfect, but it was unique and different. And it's kind of unlike anything we've ever seen on this show, which I think is really awesome.
Yeah, totally. Hell yeah. I'm into it. Fuck yeah. Midsommar was a fun movie. Actually, it wasn't fun. It was really like long. It was a very slow burn. I was really hoping there was going to be more horror. If I had to give it 5 words, I'd say don't go to Sweden, idiot. No, I don't know. Sweden's beautiful. I just don't have any good words for this. This movie was visually so beautiful. I've said that so many times now, but it's true. Definitely go see it in the theater. It's like it's worthwhile just to see the visuals because it's all colorful and bright, but it is unsettling too. And so it's a very interesting mixed message. But yeah, definitely recommended. I'm gonna give this movie see. It's so hard. Because, like, I really liked some elements of it, but I really was just like, whatever about some others. I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. I'm going to say, go see it. It's good. It's not... I'm just very torn. This movie's kind of, like, gotten me more confused than any movie we've seen on the show yet.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I say go and see it. And like Ash said, it is an art movie. And it seems like it's open to interpretation, which... as a viewer, I like, but as somebody who is interested in plot structure, it's kind of just like a cop out, almost.
What's crazy?
So
I can't believe like every movie they write fucking articles like this where they're like the movie's so scary people passed out. Like
yeah, it's stupid.
it's like that's not this movie. Stop billing this movie as that. Appreciate it for what it is, and you'll enjoy it. But like, stop calling it what it isn't. It's not a horror movie.
Go see it in the theater. Don't expect it to be a horror movie. Perfect way of putting it. Yeah. So, do we have anything else that we need to bring to the table? What do we got next week?
We're talking about thong.
Yeah, we changed up our weeks. Yes, Stanger Tings. Stranger Tings.
The stranger thing goes grah.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about that because I really enjoyed it, and I wanted to talk about it. So there you go.
I thought it was fun, and I can't wait to deconstruct Avery's arguments.
I'm already just ready to like. I know what I'm gonna say. Don't worry.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good conversation.
I'm gonna have to use my brain for the first time on this show.
Okay, whatever, dude.
No, I'm gonna have to improvise how I retort.
Oh, okay, I see.
I'm not saying I'm not calling you dumb. That's something I do behind your back, Avery.
Yeah, you wouldn't just do it on the show.
I've never called you dumb on the show. I love you as my co-host. Half of that was sarcastic.
Suspicious.
The other half was genuine. You're a good co-host. Shut up.
All right, guys.
Edit that out.
So thank you guys so much for listening to For the Story. We love you so much. We're going to talk to you next week, bringing you Stranger Things. Find us everywhere. You know where to find us at this point. Yeah, Instagram, all that stuff. All right. Thank you so much, guys. We love you so much. Goodbye.